Also, I want to talk about Sorry to Bother You.
Oh, okay.
At some point.
But not on mic. Yeah. Because we may do that someday. Abe, you still haven't seen Sorry to Bother You,
I still haven't
right?
seen it, and I need to see it. I did watch Hereditary, though.
Oh, okay. Well, neither of those are today's topic, and this is also not today's topic. This is Frame Rate, the show where we rate frames. And we're not talking about Hereditary, nor Sorry to Bother You. I'm Michael. Abe's over there.
I'm Abe.
Dan O'Brien, returning champion, is here. Daniel, what are we talking about?
We're talking about the movie Inglourious Basterds by Quentin Tarantino. And do you guys remember the first time we saw this movie?
Yes.
No.
We saw it together.
Yeah.
We saw it in 2009 in theaters after Agents of Cracked. We were filming, I don't think it was the end of a season, but it was the end of an episode. And we were all like free one night. And I think I suggested, let's see Inglourious Basterds at the theater near my home.
It's coming back to me.
Yeah, we went to the
Lake
Sherman Oaks Galleria
yeah.
to the ArcLight, and we went to go see this. We went to Fuddruckers first.
I remember that.
The three of us, maybe Lisa Marie King, maybe Matt Bars.
Maybe.
I think there were more people than just the three of us.
I remember
but
more people.
It was a huge moment for me. We went to this movie, enjoyed the movie, and then we went back to my apartment and just like had a couple of beers and talked about the movie, and then everyone went home. And you guys didn't know at the time, but it was a huge moment for me because it was like the first time that I had like a social thing happen.
People over at your place,
like people
in LA?
over at my place, yeah, because I didn't have friends for the first. This was 2009. I moved here in 2008. Didn't have friends for a year.
Yeah,
and then 2009 was like I wrote home to people and was like, Mom, you'll never guess.
I made
I
friends.
had friends. We went to a movie, and then we like very casually came back to my apartment, and we had some beers, and we had some snacks, and then they went home. I've made friends. It's great. So this movie has a special place in my heart, and a thing that it's clear to me now, you guys didn't totally remember.
I totally remember it now that you mention it. Yeah.
I do remember I didn't know any of this stuff.
You didn't know any of the heartfelt stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know.
You thought you were just seeing a movie with a guy.
Just a guy who I'd been working with who was basically already my friend.
Yeah.
And just let's watch some killing Nazis.
Fitting that it's such a romantic, friendship-centric movie.
Yeah, it truly is.
Basically Stand By Me, but in Nazi-occupied France.
Yeah.
I also should mention that we are covering this at the request of Dan Shea, a patron who paid for the Pick the Flick tier and specially requested your presence and this film. So thank you, Dan Shea. He's an Australian firefighter who's fighting fires right now.
He wanted me specifically for this movie specifically.
Firefighter wanted
He thought I had something to say about this movie. Okay.
I think he originally asked for Cody, which you're never supposed to tell a guest. But because Cody does some more news and he thought we would end up talking about the rise of the alt-right in America right now. Oh. But spoiler alert, we wouldn't have done that anyway. We're going to talk about the movie.
Yeah.
But then after Cody was in Europe for a month, he was like, well, Dan O'Brien, of course, then.
Yeah.
Because he's the default pick.
Well, thank you. I love being the default pick, and I hope I don't disappoint.
And thanks for fighting fires in Australia. But
yeah, that too.
Let's talk about people who did something way more important, killed Hitler and stopped World War II. Mm-hmm. Take that, Dan Shea. First of all, I want to check in with you guys. Had you seen it often in between the first time and now?
I feel like I saw it. I watched it several times the year after it came out. Like I saw it twice in theaters. I saw it with you guys and then my friend Elise. And then as soon as it was available on DVD, I got it. And then watched it a bunch of times because I really liked it. And then I haven't for the last 7 years or so.
Okay, so your opinion probably hasn't changed wildly because you keep checking in with it.
No, I don't keep checking in with it. I watched it a few times right after it came out and then haven't for 7 years.
Oh, well, to me, that's a lot because I watched it the time we saw it and then last night.
I liked it for like 3 years and then didn't check in with it.
Do you not like it now? And what changed?
There's a glorification of violence in it that I'm not okay with now. And that has nothing to do with culture and has everything to do with me going older and changing how I feel about media.
Oh, totally. I think it's people often overlook that, especially if it hasn't happened to you yet. And it happens so much with comedy where you're like, I'm not actually objecting to the idea that you don't have the right to say that or fuck free speech or something. I'm just saying as a fact, like, a really offensive joke involving suffering used to be funny to me because it was so abstract I wouldn't even conceptualize.
Right.
Now I know someone that happened to, whatever
Right.
it is. So like you just can't feel the same way as you age.
And even though I know and agree that Nazis are terrible, and I know and agree that Hitler is the worst, 2009, Daniel was watching a movie where a guy was smiling, shooting Hitler in the face, and I was like clapping and smiling along. And 2018, Daniel doesn't do that. Like my ideological position hasn't changed, but I just don't enjoy seeing violence. Like ideological political opinion, I still agree at 2018 that Hitler is bad, but I don't agree
Bold
that
stance.
watching a person get shot in the face is funny.
Cathartic. Is it
Or
supposed to
cathartic.
be funny?
I think it's supposed to be funny.
I thought it was supposed to be cathartic.
I think it's supposed to be both.
I would love to talk to a Holocaust survivor that saw Inglourious Basterds because I also wonder the central thing the movie does. I mean, it does several things, and we'll delve into it all. But I think something that really seemed innovative at the time, and I still want to take our minds back there and recognize how innovative it was, is it's the first World War II movie where they kill Hitler, and they really kill the shit out of Hitler.
They just rewrite history.
They Swiss cheese him. And that was a moment where I was like No Country did this to me, where I was like, I didn't think you could do that. Of
Yeah.
course you can, but wow, what an amazing power the medium of film has, that it just discovered that it could take someone we all universally pour our hate into and give us the amazing experience of seeing justice done to them, even if it's not true.
yeah.
And maybe I've been radicalized over time because I used to be the guy who was totally like, violence is never an option. And now I feel like that's kind of privilegey, only in that, well, if you're oppressed long enough and you've tried protesting and and they just won't take their boot off your neck, then violence is an option, like eventually.
Sure. I think the movie just glorifies it in a way, and we'll get into this because I do, spoiler alert, like this movie a whole lot. But there are things that as I got older, I liked writing of the movie more than I liked a lot of the other parts of it. Like there's the Donnie Donowitz beating the German guy in the head with a bat. That is played for joy. Like
It is.
The bastards whom we love and we know as protagonists, they all clap for it. They celebrate it. They're very excited about it. And at the time, I was right there with them because that's such a cool intro to a character, and it's such an amazing entrance. He's pounding a bat, going through this
In a dark
fucking
tunnel, yeah.
and he shows up, and it's Eli Roth, but you don't know that he's just like some jacked guy in a wife beater, and you
Yeah.
believe him as this Jewish American Boston hump, and he beats this guy. And 2009, Daniel again was like, yeah, you beat that guy. And 2018, Daniel is like not as comfortable watching a bunch of people celebrate beating someone else to death.
And
And
scalping
like
everyone.
right, and like Brad Pitt is like, this is the closest thing we get to TV is watching Donnie work. And so everyone is super excited
Even
to
though
watch
the
him
guy's
do
a
this
Nazi
thing.
who probably personally murdered a bunch of other people.
Right, even
He-
though he's a bad
It doesn't
guy.
make it enjoyable to
It
experience.
doesn't. It's not enjoyable to me, especially now. It's not enjoyable to me
Mm-hmm.
to like I can't get on board with beating someone to death and a bunch of people cheering
Bold stance.
and having that being an exciting thing.
Sure. I also just gotta say, I think he loses a lot of gravitas when Eli Roth opens his stupid fucking
Yeah.
mouth and starts
Teddy
doing
Williams, knock it out of the park!
the dumbest, broadest Boston accent I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're lines Quentin actually wrote. They seem like improvs because of the editing and shot distance and pacing. But he says like, just the most road shit, like, come on, boy, 2 hits, I hit you, you hit the ground, pal.
Yeah, that's the thing. As soon as I think even
Like,
when
this
that
guy's
movie
not
came
cool.
out, when he said that, it was like, 2 hits, me hit you, you hitting the floor. And I was like, I think I heard that in Breakfast Club. I think you stole that from Breakfast Club, Eli.
Hits a long one out of Fenway Park. Yep, you're from Boston. That confirms it. Yeah, I can vibe with you on the violence, but I think we have to embrace it to discuss it, because absolutely really good realistic violence all throughout.
Yeah.
And I think we're all saying, killing Nazis may sometimes be necessary, but it's about the tangible enjoyment of watching it happen.
Yeah, the revenge, justice and revenge aspect of it. And I actually got to give it to him about the boldness of just like killing Hitler and like rewriting such a well-known story as just like, but what if it happened like this, is kind of cool cinematically.
I agree.
And the fact that he doesn't really pay much attention to it, other than the shot after shot of Swiss cheesing in his face, he embellishes, but I mean, it's Tarantino. When does he not embellish?
Right.
You know. So there's a lot of things to like in this movie, and the violence doesn't bother me. The violence has always been Tarantino's bag, so there's nothing new with this one.
Mm-hmm.
What? Oh,
You just turned too far away.
so there's nothing new with this one in terms of like the violence and the mayhem and like.
It's not his most violent movie.
It's not his most violent movie. The thing that it does, as well as Django does, is this kind of like rewriting history with just a revenge story.
Right.
That, given what we know now, what would be the coolest thing to happen at that time?
Right, which I think is a very fine thing to do. Like I don't need everything to be word perfect with history. I like the idea of someone being like, you remember Hitler? He was bad, right? Wouldn't it be cool if there was a group of like 9 buff Jewish soldiers
Scalping
who fucking
Nazis,
killed
yeah.
Nazis, and Hitler? Isn't that neat? And like, yeah, that is neat. But like,
Also,
I
some that are not
buff.
buff at all.
Oh,
Some of them are
Paul
BJ
Russ,
Novak.
Sam
To me,
Levine.
the most... Yeah, I was going to say Eli Roth didn't deserve to be in this movie, but I was happy Paul Rust got the break. If you'll recall, that was a crack thing, too. Paul Rust was just a good improver at UCB.
He was a friend of yours, right? Didn't you guys do class with him?
I had done a UCB class with him once and reached out to him about doing a crack sketch, and he wrote back and said, of course, anytime, I'll do anything that's funny. You know, I don't have shit to do. And then he wrote back a couple days later and was like, actually, I was just cast in a Quentin Tarantino movie and I'm flying to Europe. Didn't expect that to happen, but you know, I'm going to do that instead. So bye.
That was the thing. That's interesting because that was just like a production note thing. This has nothing to do with the plot or anything. The movie it's called Inglourious Basterds, and the bastards are Brad Pitt and his team, one of whom is Paul Russ, one is BJ Novak, one is Sam Levine.
Oh, BJ Novak doesn't deserve to be in there either.
Fuck BJ Novak. But like a bunch of comedy people. And the trailers, when they came out for this movie, were very much centered around Brad Pitt's monologue about getting Nazi scalps.
And I want my scalps.
Right. And that didn't end up being necessarily what the movie was about. Like, that was a good trick of the trailers for this movie. It was like, this is a movie starring Brad Pitt and a bunch of weird comedy folks trailing Nazis in Europe. And it was like, no, it's mostly subtitled. It's a mostly subtitled movie in France.
Yeah.
And like the bastards are like 1/4 of the movie. Maybe.
Yes, which is interesting about the presentation. And in a way it felt I want to dig into the structure, because I've come to believe that the structure is actually uniquely prosaic, because Tarantino loves, like, Reservoir Dogs fucks with time, Pulp Fiction ramps it up to 11, like that's the main thing you notice is that the time's all fucked up. I think this and Hateful Eight, I suppose, he really wanted to constrain himself, probably because he thinks of them as westerns. Like, what's weird to me is it's obviously technically should be shelved like a blockbuster as a World War II movie, but it's a Western, right? Like, it's shot like a Western. The score is like a spaghetti Western. And he said, or I just read on the trivia thing that he had said that he was trying to apply the spaghetti Western aesthetic, and he was originally going to call it the first chapter title, Once Upon a Time, and as an homage to Once Upon a Time in the West.
Honestly, I mean, like,
it's a mashup
when
of a bunch of
Shoshana's
shit.
running away from Landa, you know, it's the searcher shot,
The John Ford shot through the door, yeah.
like the door, it's all silhouette, and you just see someone, which he's used time and time again. I mean, if anything, Tarantino is a very capable plagiarist.
And what's the shot where she's looking out the circular window? You told me that was a
Les
remake.
Samurai. Like,
Okay.
he does that on all of his films, though. It's not that important. Here's something. You guys want to hear some math about, like, how long these scenes are, because that's
I'd
one
love
of
to hear some math.
that's one of the things that I think a lot of us notice.
Do you know how many pages the first scene is?
Oh, I don't know, but I do know its time, its length. It's
What about its girth?
It's 17 minutes or 21 minutes with credits, so probably 18 minutes.
And of course,
That's
we're
such a
talking.
long scene.
Yeah, and
Such a
it's not
great
the only
scene.
scene that is that long. So the math is it's 2 hours and 15 minutes of scenes. That is my back the envelope, even though it's longer, because I'm given like 7 minutes for end credits, and there's like 3 or 4 minutes up top of credits. And that means that liberally, that's 5 minutes a scene if you just do the median. But in my breakdown of all the scenes, where I got, I think, to 27 scenes, I'd say about 4 or 5 of those are like intercuts, just mainly Act 3 and the big giant face, where it's like, it's all one scene. It's all the scene at the, like, I would count a different scene would be, Landa getting Aldo.
Yeah.
But I would say anytime we're inside watching the movie, that's like one scene.
But
even though we cut
Act
to
3
it
Giant
8
Face
times.
is definitely like, here are all the people that you've
Yeah.
met this entire movie, this movie that is 11 and a half hours long or whatever.
Yeah.
Act 3 is like, now things are happening to all of them.
They're all in one
You know
place.
Landa, you
Right,
know
right.
Brad Pitt, you know
Hammersmark.
Hammersmark,
Yeah.
all those people, you know Hitler. Here,
Hitler.
thing is happening to all of them at the same time.
Right.
That's the first time.
I'm
that
just
happens.
acknowledging that it feels different to a viewer as opposed to the first scene with the, at Shoshana's home, where she's
like
on
a
the
play.
floorboards. Or the
Yeah.
bar scene where they're all playing
Is
the
like a
game.
play, too,
Those are
yeah.
both. So I would say a good, more true estimate would be there's an average of this movie, a median average that is like 7 to 8 minutes
Yeah.
long per scene.
It really
Right.
makes me want Quentin Tarantino to write a play, and I felt that about
Oh,
Hateful
yeah.
Eight too.
That's Hateful
Where it's
Eight.
like, you're so good at dialogue, and you're so great at like making 17 minutes of two people sitting across the table from each other talking tense and captivating. Just fucking write plays, and I know he won't do that.
And
He likes his shots and
I kind of want to put
to
in
pay tribute to stuff. but-
You
perspective.
can't get
'cause-
close-ups of feet in a play. It's
No.
hard.
Yeah,
Try.
there's whole sequence. Yeah, he loves him. But just because I love doing this, I love taking a stopwatch to most things that I watch and just see when the breaks happen, if there's anything new. It's just like a tick I have. Huh, that's kind of a pun now that I think about it. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
sure. Dork, just go on.
Game of Thrones, which is a completely different format and medium, obviously. The reason I perked up is that also averages around 27 scenes an episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you count it the way that I'm counting Inglourious Basterds. And that's like a 55-minute-ish show, I would say, on average. So that means that they're averaging 2 minutes per scene. And Inglourious Bastard is averaging like 8. That's
Yeah,
just
well,
a
that's
crazy...
what I was, standard in, like, if you read, here's how to write a traditional movie and break into Hollywood, it's like half a minute to 2 minutes is your maximum scene length. It's 2 minutes, right? Usually.
Yeah.
And I think what that creates is, a play-like feeling, but I also found myself often being like, this is Hitchcockian. I sound pretentious. But, like, it seemed like, and it almost this time in this viewing made it feel monotonous to me, not in a bad way, but each sequence felt like setup, tension ratchets up, resolution, move on to a totally different place, totally different setup, tension ratchets up,
Yeah.
at roughly the same speed.
Right, watching it last night again in preparation of this podcast was the first time that I thought there were redundancies. Hellstrom, the Nazi who was in the basement.
Oh, the
Like
father
the-
of
the-
Maximilian?
No, the guy who
Finds them out.
finds them out. Yeah.
Okay.
He is a guy that I still love that actor. I
Yeah.
still think he's great. But watching it again, I thought that's kind of redundant because you've got him and you've got Christoph Waltz. These are two Nazi detectives. That's their role. You got these two very smart, high up Nazi officials who are fluent in multiple languages. And watching it this time, just like thinking about it critically, I was like, why this guy instead of Hans Landa? Why
I
do we
think
have
the
why
ans-
do we have this guy that is like We
Yeah.
got a
Kind of
very
Hans
brief
Landa.
introduction to,
And then he
now
dies.
we've got him as like in this big scene where he's clearly a detective. He's got an ear for accents.
Yeah.
You know, he figures stuff out. He could tell when you hold the wrong number of 3 fingers up. This is a guy who has the same detective skills of Landa.
Right.
I was like, why is this 2 characters?
I think
Other than like we don't want to kill Landa.
exactly. I think it's functional because they set up by the premise that, and I don't know how he could change that and have the rest of the movie work. Everyone in that room has to die, or
Yes.
the end mission would be compromised. So you can't put Landa in the room because he'd have to die,
Yeah.
or at least get shot in the balls and live.
Right, I understand that if knowing what you want your ending to be, I understand that. But
Right.
to rewrite it, I would just remove
Find
that
a way.
scene and
Or
like
something.
like condense those things.
Find a
like,
way to
Not make it necessary to murder everyone in the room for the movie
Right,
to progress.
He's got
Somehow.
iron balls.
Yeah.
right.
No, I could even see Landa being that guy and then resourcefully surviving or secreting himself, then crawling out from the wreckage and finding the napkin and everything else
Yeah.
proceeding as normal. Yeah.
I think Tarantino is famous for this in the same film.
Does whatever the fuck he wants.
Why is it that like when Hammersmark, she leaves the thing that has her kiss and a signed on her like handkerchief for Max, and then she also has her shoe. These are the things that Landa finds and is like, there's someone missing. It's a woman. Here's a shoe, and it's nice fashion. He puts this all together in the room, and then he finds her name. Yet he then calls her up later after he's like investigated and found out that she has a very bad alibi about her, why she has a cast on her leg. Like, there's no doubt in this guy who's actually pretty intelligent. Like, she is, all signs point to her.
Yeah.
Yet he gets her to come up just so he can put feet in.
Right.
I think it's just because Tarantino wanted to have a feet scene.
Wanted a feet scene.
And a fight.
Well,
like,
also
where it chokes
it's
out a woman, I guess.
famously, and I don't know if it's true because it's not listed in the IMDb trivia. I'm sure Tarantino would not allow it to be, but I've always heard that in the close-up, it's his hands choking
No, that's
her.
true.
That's
Yeah.
confirmed.
That's an interview.
And that he really choked her till
Yeah.
she passed out.
Yeah.
So there might be an
Is that
aspect
Yes.
that he
Ooh.
wrote the scene in because it's a thing he always wanted to do, and he can
Yeah.
now.
It's like a really shitty thing because
That's horrible.
He did that in this, and also
He's not trained
I
for
want to say
that?
one of the Kill Bill movies. There's another movie where someone close up strangles a woman, and it's his hands in that as well. And
I'm sure his
he-
argument's like, well, the director should be responsible if
Right,
something goes
his
wrong.
his argument was like, I'm not gonna have a PA do that. I'm not gonna have an actor do it. I think it looks good if someone is like really choking, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make sure that I'm the person who does that. And I think when asked about like, what if you were choking a man, would you still do that? It's like, I don't know. I would never even think about that. I would never even think to ask a man if I should be the one choking him. It was like, yeah, well, 2 things on that. In all of your movies, you never choke a man. You
Right.
have only choked women, and isn't that interesting to you? And second of all, doesn't it matter to you that you wouldn't think of asking a man
Yeah, exactly.
if you could choke them? Isn't that interesting to you at all? Doesn't that make you want to look inward at all? But
Perhaps. Yeah.
it does not. He just choked her.
I do think that's I mean, it's such we keep saying, it goes all the way back to well-made plays like Pinter and Ibsen and shit. But just the simple fact that Landa knows, that is like such a great tension scene where
Yeah.
he's asking, yeah, your cast is so fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I broke it yesterday morning. Oh, so you're mountain
Let me
climbing in
talk
Paris.
Italians to your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me talk perfect Italian to your Italian quote-unquote friends.
Who all fuck it up.
I still don't. This is a thing that I've always been confused about for this movie, and I want to say again that I love this fucking movie. But Landa killing Bridget von Hammersmark has always confused me. Because he does it, it's clearly passionate when he kills her.
And he
It's-
says
it's-
she got what she deserved.
She got what she
afterward.
deserved. And if the movie ended there, you could decide that Landa is the kind of person who hates traitors. Doesn't like anyone who's going to betray country, and they need to die painfully. And that's why he strangled her to death. But then he betrays his country.
His plan is to
Like,
immediately cut a
very
deal.
logically and coolly betrays his country. And so I don't know why.
I think
I've always been confused about that. I don't think there's a good explanation.
I don't think there's a good explanation. I think it's the most inconsistent thing in the film because Landa is supposed to be Batman, like Nazi Batman to me.
Right, yeah.
He's supposed to be the detective.
He's Sherlock Holmes, yeah.
Yeah.
He
And
even has that big pipe.
The calabash.
oh, well, that's so. I also think they're just doing the big dick thing, right? Like the farmer takes out a little corncob pipe, and then right when he turns to, okay, I'm going to kill everyone now, he's like, can I smoke too? My pipe's big.
I think it's a little both because he does say like I'm a detective immediately.
Yeah.
after.
Yeah.
Can I do some opium and play violin while we discuss the people under your floorboards? But I agree. I think we're circling around what Abe said. The scene's only there because Quentin wanted to do it, and he doesn't care that it's actually a weirdly inconsistent thing for Landa to do.
Right. It's a foot scene and a choking a woman with your own hands scene.
Where this character gets more emotionally invested than we've ever seen them, and
Yeah.
it's so not what he would do.
No.
What I like to talk
Like
about.
he brushes his hair
Don't interrupt.
and then like does the big meeting about like I'm gonna surrender the war.
Yeah.
For now.
I also and I want a Congressional Medal of Honor.
Right, he's just having a buffet of American tradition.
Yeah.
The thing I like to talk about most when I talk about Tarantino, because if it hasn't been made clear, I'm not a big fan of Tarantino. Surprisingly, this
Oh.
is my second favorite Tarantino film,
What's your first?
Reservoir.
Which we've covered. Yeah.
In fact, I think Reservoir's it's a part.
This is
it's,
my
It's a
favorite.
band apart.
it's a band apart.
This is my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie of all of them. Far and away.
I don't like most of them, and the
Far and away is
reason
my favorite
isn't
Quentin
because
Tarantino
he's
movie.
not capable. It isn't that he isn't compelling. I mean, Wes Anderson is also compelling, but I find they're of the same cloth, meaning they found out how to do one exceptional thing that was new and fresh, and they did it to the point of like kind of like Michael Bay does too. He's like, yeah, I'm a technical wizard, and they're like, go do that forever, and just keep making your robots. And with Wes Anderson, I mean, it'd be oversimplifying, but just for ease and speed, like it's floral print walls, and for here it's hyper violence, and it's the bigger question that I like to ask, which is how much is too much. For example, he's famous for like his waxing poetic, Royale with cheese,
Yeah.
foot massages, all that stuff.
Monologues.
Which is why I like him. Which is
Pop culture
what I'm
monologues.
here. I don't like
Yeah.
the pop culture stuff so much, but he definitely writes movies for writers.
It's just a
It's not how
strange-
anyone talks.
It's a strange incident for a serial killer or like a hitman to be
Yeah.
talking about a Royale with cheese. I get it. It is an interesting and poetic kind of turn that we have never seen before. That's why it's so fresh. That's why it felt new.
Just
and we
like
all were
Anderson.
we all were excited.
You recognize the Tarantino verse feels different. Yeah.
And I actually think that first 21 minutes, Landa being the hunter, is really good. I wanted to point out that it takes 17 of those 21 minutes for Waltz to actually change a beat, to actually do something in terms of the story, where he finally says, quote, hey, I can have my soldiers just go nuts on this house, or you can point out where they're hiding.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you say quote? That's not
That's
a quote.
not a quote.
That's absolutely not a
basically,
quote.
yeah. Paraphrase. Sorry. I just put it in quotes because I don't know.
Quote, aha.
It's not a quote.
I can just have my
Just go
soldiers.
nuts on the house.
They will
I'm
go
gonna go
nuts.
nuts on this house.
So it's just like he basically does this thing where he for 17 minutes just toys with his food,
Yeah.
and then for 5 minutes the steaks are
Drinks
there.
2 glasses of
And
milk, which is a power play
You
and
guys
a lot of
mentioned-
milk.
Yeah, white power, I guess, is what the milk thing
I
is.
just think it's, the classic eating in someone.
This is my home.
Cares so little about murdering people. He knows he's going to murder people seconds from now, and he's can enjoy a delicious
Yeah.
glass of milk.
And
Yeah.
still controls it because it's like, hey, do you want wine? Like, no, give me milk. I'm in charge now. You're gonna
Yeah.
give me milk, and they give him milk, and he puts his hand on the daughter to ask for the milk.
Yeah.
And then drinks it
Right.
In one
It does-
gulp
Yeah.
in a way that is this conversation starts when I'm ready.
It's the hound
I'm gonna
saying-
drink your fucking milk.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it at my own pace.
He constantly, his main tactic is everyone in the room has to go at my pace,
Yeah.
period.
I agree with it.
Yeah.
Builds
So
a
good.
better monster. Every one of those things are great gestures. I'm
Yeah.
not pointing at anyone.
But you're
saying
building
that's-
toward a point, I can tell.
Yeah.
But 17 minutes of it, how many do you? So that's my question. How much is too much? should we just make a film where we make someone more horrifying because of how haunting they can be? Like, because that's longer than most short films.
Well, a ton of stuff in this serves no thematic function and is exactly that, which is another reason I think I call it Hitchcockian. Is Hitchcock would have tropes where the scene gets lengthened and delayed just by circumstance. It doesn't mean anything. It's just to milk the tension even longer. Like when he's eating the strudel and we're like, this is already so tense. And he's like, no, wait. Now we have to wait for the cream.
Clam.
Yeah. And it's like,
And he chooses milk for her, which is like, does he know?
See, to me,
I'll have an espresso and Mademoiselle would have
that
the
is
milk.
cool.
that
stuff.
is a statement because that changes your understanding and throws
Wait,
the
does he
equation
know?
into
Was that an
question.
accident.
But waiting for the cream is just a delay tactic.
to feel the tension.
It's the question is whether that's enjoyable or not. I don't know that it has a purpose, but I do think in the movie he's trying to say, I ratcheted the tension up to this level. It feels good to be tense like this.
Yeah.
So let's hover at this level for a while.
I lack the vocabulary to be able to articulate why I feel this way. But he makes the movie so watchable. Quentin Tarantino, like every bit of it, all the stuff that you're talking about, you think maybe the first 17 minutes are too long, and like the cream situation might be too long, but it's still every bit of that to me is just like I'm watching this. Even though I watched it a 1,000 times, watching it last night, I'm still very tense rewatching it.
Engaged.
He does such a good job. Just like you can't check your phone while you're watching this.
That's a great review of the film.
Just tension.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. My personal style is that I think that you can do that only so many times before it starts getting rough.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. He doesn't screw up. There's not one gesture that he makes that he clearly as a filmmaker is trying to escalate the tension and just fails at it.
Yeah.
Like they always do succeed in what he's trying to do. And in that, he's a good director.
But it's like Don't Breathe, if you saw that at the end, where it's basically, there's a section where it's just a woman trying to avoid getting eaten by a dog she's in a car. And so many Don't Breathe about the blind guy they're trying to rob and he starts killing them.
Oh, I did see that movie.
Got them bad ears.
This reminded me of that, where it's like every possible thing that could happen where you're like, this could be resolved, but the chair went this way. Now it could be resolved again, but now there's a strap like that.
It's also a movie that
buying tension time.
if you boil this movie down to a plot, there are two different groups that are trying to kill Hitler. It's the Inglourious Basterds with eventually Archie Hickox and the tacit agreement of Winston Churchill and whatever Mike Myers' character is called, that they're trying to kill as many Nazis as they can. And there's also
Shoshana
slash
Marcel.
Mimio.
I see.
And her partner, Marcel. Emmanuel Mimio.
Oh, that's her fake
and
name.
Her partner, Marcel. They are also trying to kill the Nazis.
The most successful.
And they have so many different plots to get there. And at the end of the day, it doesn't actually matter because Hans Landa is the one who really makes sure that this thing happens. But the bare bones plot is Shoshana and the Bastards are trying to kill the Nazis. And
they both succeed.
They succeed.
Yeah.
They didn't. If one of them failed, the other one would have worked, and vice versa.
Most likely,
They never
because
meet.
Yeah.
Shoshana's plan, we do see the building fully burn and collapse. Like, even if Hitler wasn't getting Swiss cheesed, he would have burned to death.
He would have burned it. Yeah.
There's 250 dead Nazis in there.
And if she had failed, the Bastards would have done their thing.
Although her plan's so much more dramatic. I gotta say, one thing that really stuck with me in the film, and I don't know why, and again, I can't elucidate, it's just like when Lynch throws up an image where I'm like, I love that, is I don't care how contrived it is.
Big face in the smoke?
The big face projected on the smoke, laughing as a room full of Nazis burned to death.
The Return of the Giant Face.
Makes you feel Revenge of the Giant Face.
Revenge.
Yeah. Incoming revenge from the big giant head. It's one of the closest filmic experiences where I felt like I was in hell, like literally the Christian hell. Like the sound design is so good and full of the fact that he really didn't mince so many movies, Quentin won't do this, but so many movies, when they're firing indiscriminately into the crowd, would have had mostly dudes in SS uniforms getting hit. He had mostly their wives getting hit to be like,
right.
they're shooting like a mass shooter would into a crowded theater randomly.
The bastards just kill all Nazis.
To me, the most disturbing image
like
this time was Donnie Donowitz obliterating Goebbels' French mistress.
Right, the
Because I was like, you hate her so much.
/ prostitute.
And
that
you don't even
really
know who
too
she
much about.
is. Yeah, you just walked in and were like, and fuck this woman.
Yeah.
Grrr. Like, the bastards are obviously monsters.
But I bring this up to just say that, like, as far as plot goes, very little actually happens in this movie.
And a bunch
just
of it's
a
redundant.
series of plays that are very tense. And in the meantime, there are 2 plots that fall apart several times and then win in the end.
And Hateful Eight's very similar to that structurally, actually.
Yeah. Although the most I felt tension about, like, because he does do a good job of making you anticipate what typical or traditional, like, suspense would be. And then he like, makes you, wait, oh shit, now he's going to do the Quentin Tarantino thing where everyone's going to die. And I don't want that because that shouldn't happen here. That can happen elsewhere, but not here. Was the bar scene.
Oh, Fassbender feels like, wait, he's gone already?
Wait, he's gone? And also Hugo's gone? Like, all these are the great...
Stiglitz.
And they're also both super important to the idea of knowing German. And she's just like, the English guy fucked up his German, and he wasn't good at it. And it's just...
The Fassbender stuff was always crazy. And it's especially crazy now that Fassbender is a star. Because watching it last night, it's like you watch a movie for an hour and 20 minutes, and then Fassbender shows up for the first time. And it's like, oh yeah, Magneto's in this movie, and he's very magnetic. He's so watchable as well, and you love him. I mean, he does the Quentin Tarantino thing where he talks about movies and like, go fuck yourself, Tarantino. I get it. You like movies.
He used to be a film critic before the war.
He was a film
Fuck
critic,
off.
and he's so good at talking about them. And in that, his main scene in the bar, he's so good in it. And then he's just dead. And he's introduced late and is killed so early.
Yeah, just right in the testicles.
Right in the testicles. Yeah.
Say auf Wiedersehen to your Nazi balls. I did like, really cool trivia was the guy who played Stiglitz is a German actor and
Til Schweiger
doesn't like the typecasting of German people as Nazis. Like, he was... When he pursued acting, he vowed to never play just a stock Nazi character or wear a Nazi uniform in a thing. And he agreed to do this one because he's killing Nazis constantly.
Right. He's someone that I watched the movie and I'm like, why isn't he Tom Hardy? What happened?
Why isn't
Til Schweiger Tom Hardy?
Why doesn't he have a Machete-style spin-off movie, dude?
Yeah.
I would watch that. Yeah.
He's so good and like he's got such a presence, and you would think that after this movie he would do a bunch of other things. But I guess he mostly focused on German cinema. He was in... the Spy vs. Spy movie with Chris Pine and Tom Hardy.
Wow, I forgot
this
there was a
means
Spy
war?
vs. Spy.
Yeah,
it's not an adaptation of Mad Magazine's Spy vs. Spy, is it?
It kind of is.
Okay.
Yeah. But he's an antagonist in that movie. But otherwise, he's just not. He's mostly disappeared from American cinema.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because he's got such a great look.
I realize...
Just so handsome.
I realize it's on the nose... because Tarantino always does the film thing, but I still will buy, and I like, that film literally kills Hitler because that's what they use to burn him to death. And, that's what the movie's doing. We can use narrative to transcend reality and kill Hitler.
It's very on the nose.
It is. But it's not inconsistent.
No.
It's clear, and you're like, yes, that's true.
There are at least three winks from Quentin Tarantino that I noticed in the movie that I hate. One of them is at the end of the movie when he carves a swastika into the forehead of Hans Landa. BJ Novak, piece of shit, says, you did a good job with this or whatever. And then Brad Pitt says, I think this might be my masterpiece. And they're looking direct to camera while they say this, because they're looking, the perspective we're assuming that the camera is placed at the forehead of Hans Landa, and they're looking down at it. So
classic swastika eye view shot.
Right. It's a It's a classic POV shot, and they're looking down and says, "I do believe this is my masterpiece." Smash cut to written and directed by Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, every
Which,
time
annoying flex. That's wink number one. Wink number two is when they're playing the celebrity game where they put the cards on their foreheads and you have to guess who it is. There's a bit when Diane Kruger, Hammersmark, when her character is talking about how it doesn't matter what the author says, the character is from Africa, so the character is allowed to talk however it wants. That felt like Quentin Tarantino winking and saying, "I'm allowed to say the N-word," because it was a moment
write
where,
it if I pay a black person to say it.
I'm gonna do whatever I want. Like the author's allowed to say whatever he wants if it is in service of the character, which is an answer to criticism that he's gotten his entire fucking career.
And of course, most of the references on the cards are yet again like obscure film knowledge nut flexes.
And flex number 3 was the importance of film. Melanie Laurent, Shoshana, she died, but then gets to live on in film. Like, film killed the Nazis, but also allowed her life because her face is being projected on the smoke and she is laughing while people die. And
right, just like the guy she just shot, Zoller.
He is also living.
Right before that,
film.
She shoots him, he dies, she sees his face on screen, then he shoots her, she dies, and you see, oh, through film, dead people can still be active participants in culture. Yeah.
Right. Even though she's dead, her thing will live on, and isn't that important? It's like, that's Quentin. That's a guy who worked at a blockbuster and believes in film. And like, I'm rolling my eyes while I say this. It's not just because I'm so familiar with his work that I know what his thing is, and that's why I roll my eyes. I don't disagree with it. It's just like, I can see him winking throughout this movie in these moments.
I recognize all those, I gotta say, and I want to know if you feel the same way. The first one you mentioned, every time I remember the final moment, I do have a strong urge to be like, oh, actually, I hate this movie.
Right.
That one really bothers me. How do you feel about that final moment?
I don't think I could ever end a movie with a character saying direct to camera, "This is my masterpiece." Smash cut to written and directed by Daniel O'Brien.
Right.
Unless it was a parody. I could do that.
Well, now
I think
you
that
could
one's
as a
the
parody.
biggest one, but I think that none of these particular gestures bother me, but all of them together do. When asked about the misspelled title, changing Bastards to with an E, Tarantino gave the following answer: "Here's the thing, I'm never going to explain that. You do an artistic flourish like that. And to explain it would just take the piss out of it and invalidate the whole stroke in the first place." Which sounds like a non-answer to me. Like, and he's not really wanting to answer.
Yeah.
Like, so to me, it's just that he's just like tugging on little aspects of the thing he made. He's playing with toys, which can create awesome stuff. But when you've gotten to a point where you're not really being edited and you can, in Hard 8, be your own narrator.
Hard 8.
Or on Hard 8, sorry. Hateful Eight. Hard Eight's a much better movie. Hateful Eight, or just like all the embellishing that he does here and there. And we talked about the foot porn stuff too. Like, I think here's a guy that is just really in love with the way he wants to make movies. I can't fault him for that, but I can not care for his movie.
Like how Michael,
I do feel like he's I can forgive the homages to older movies that he loves. I mean, I could forgive everything, but I can mostly forgive that. I have a harder time forgiving times when I feel like he's directly responding to critics, which is what I felt like some of the winks were in this. And things that I feel like he does every once in a while, where he's when he waxes philosophical, when Shoshana is talking about how, oh, in France we respect our directors. That's a response to him not feeling like he gets the credit that he deserves in not France.
Even though in a culture where people rarely know the name of a director, he's one of the 8 names people do now.
One of the hard 8 names.
Tell you what really bugs me that I feel like we almost selectively overlook, maybe not Abe, but I definitely do when I am thinking, I liked that movie a lot. I'm consciously forgetting the little squiggly arrows that say this is Hans Bormann, and the shit where an electric guitar starts and there's a title card.
Yeah.
That shit's so lame to me. Like, it really doesn't wear well
Yeah, I
at
didn't
all.
love that.
And Sam, what is his deal with suddenly having a distractingly famous voiced person narrate 40 minutes into the movie? And you're like, oh, there's narration? Okay. I'll expect to hear Sam Jackson's voice again later. Hour and a half, he says one more sentence. You're like, did you need narration to link this shit up?
For Hugo Stieglitz, who says maybe 9 words in the movie, dies. Doesn't do anything that's actually consequential to the plot. It's just he is the only person who gets a big setup for his character, and then it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
And we got Samuel L. Jackson to do it.
And yet
Why?
I don't know why. You can tear it apart in so many different ways, but I want to underscore what Dan said. When I'm watching it, I am like, I could keep watching this. I don't feel like looking away. I'm interested. It looks pretty. I'm excited by the dialogue. I do think he has a knack, almost a Whedon-ish knack for line-to-line dialogue that is essentially propelling his career.
Right. And I defend Battleship. The movie. Like here's the thing, is that it's not that he's a bad director, it's that I think people treat him as one of the gods of filmmaking of modern age, and I just don't buy into it.
I feel like he should be regarded as a phenomenal writer. I don't care as much for the directing part of things or his personality part of things, but I just like him so much as a writer. I know he writes the way that people don't talk, but every character is distinct. Like no one is his voice in this movie.
And that's what'll save stuff like Stieglitz. You're like, if you think about it, there's no reason to have him there, but I like him. He's cool.
Right. And like Aldo sounds different than Hans Landa, sounds different than Hitler, sounds different than Shoshana, sounds different than everyone. It's just, he's so good as a writer of just like really understanding and living in his characters and knowing how they talk and how they sound and how they react.
My favorite is, first off, I just gotta give it, like, every time Brad Pitt does his Italian accent, fucking floors me.
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny.
Bonjour.
And I think
Arrivederci.
probably the best moment is when he's taken captive, where he's just insulting the German soldiers. That's some of the best.
I love
writing.
that so much. As soon as they put the hood over him, fuck you.
And he's like surprisingly tame in some instances, like, you Nazi farts.
Now he goes, one of them is, God damn it, you Jerry banging Limburger smelling.
It happens.
He's like Yosemite Sam.
The instant a hood is put over his head, there's no like, what? There's no surprise. Just as soon as the hood comes down, you fucking Nazi.
Fuck you, you fucking pricks. I don't give a shit. Does anyone know if concealable punch-powered guns existed at this time or were employed in World War II?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how they got through with dynamite, and also how there's so much dynamite.
There's a lot of dynamite.
Like, so much dynamite around. Like, how do you not see that in like a fitted tux?
Nazi, I get it.
Yeah.
Although there's...
Hans Landa is judging the veracity of their accents when he could just look down and be like, why the fuck is your ankle so bulky?
Yeah, that's clearly dynamite.
Why are you wearing dynamite with a meat thermometer in it? Also, it's not a clock. I don't understand what the timer was.
And he actually looks at it, he's like, clever.
Clever girl. I did wonder, did you guys think... Were there 3 plans to kill Hitler? By which I mean, was Hans always, because the war's winding down and he knows they're going to lose, planning to find some way to kill everyone at that event and then parlay it? Or did he, on a whim, know, oh, the bastards have dynamite, I can do this plan?
I think
so.
it's on a whim. I think it's the
Yeah.
second one. I think because no one could have planned Hitler, Goebbels, and the 2 other very important
And he
Nazis
did nothing to get them
Right.
there.
He
Yeah.
He didn't do anything to get them there. He found out they were all going to be in the same place, and then he didn't even know Shoshana's plan. He saw the Bastards' plan and was like, this could end the war, and that could be huge for me. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's a very clear bet hedging moment.
It's just interesting for... Because he's such a great detective, but he's not a mastermind. Like, he's not one of the parties who has a master plan that they fulfill.
No,
he's
he's
just
just an
going through life
opportunist.
doing, like,
Yeah.
what seems best. Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a wacky question
Yeah.
about this movie?
Oh, yeah.
Is Brad Pitt a good actor?
It depends on the role. I think so.
I don't think he's a good actor.
I-
I think he's a movie star. I think he's very charismatic, and I think sometimes he's just incredibly well cast.
I think
Tyler
sometimes
Durden,
he has
he's
two
well
types.
cast.
He doesn't have great range, but he has two things. He has the characters that he has impeccable charisma, and then like kind of crazy people because like he is phenomenal.
12 Monkeys, he's great.
Burn
He's
After
great.
Reading,
Snatch,
he's amazing.
He's fucking phenomenal.
Snatch, he's phenomenal. That's right.
Yeah, and I'd say he's really good in this.
I think he's mostly good in this. I think his monologue, I don't buy. I feel like his main introduction where he's doing his big speech, I don't buy it. Like,
I always
and I'm
remember-
taking my notes last night when I'm watching this movie, and I was like, Brad Pitt's not good. And then every scene where he's with someone else and he's interacting with them, I'm like, nah, Brad Pitt's good. He's
I agree. I always remember even the first time thinking this monologue is such a linchpin thing, the way they shot it. I wish it was like one of our finest actors ever delivering
Yeah.
it. Like, I don't know, Bryan Cranston or something. But I think Burn After Reading convinced me he's a good actor.
because that's such a small role and out of type for him.
yeah.
And between that and 12 Monkeys, I'm like, well, if he can do both of those, I guess he's good.
And like Fight Club is a little bit of 12 Monkeys.
I think
It's-
Fight Club, he's just well cast, and like it's the perfect time in his life because
Yeah.
he's ripped and lithe and beautiful.
But like Ocean's
intense.
11, he's not really.
Oh, see, I think he's great in Ocean's 11.
I mean, he's not. He's just Brad Pitt. Like he's
Yes,
Brad Pitt
yeah.
as Mr. Smith and Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yes.
in the way that Tom
He's
Cruise
just
can
charisma.
also fill just charisma guy.
Yeah.
Right.
But I've never seen Tom Cruise do something like 12 Monkeys or any of the things you
Sure,
named. Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know why I always compare them, but
Magnolia.
I do.
But-
Magnolia. Let's just talk about Magnolia, you guys.
already
Respect
did that
the
as-
cock.
Suck my fucking sausage.
It's-
Just a
you
little
are
weird
going to give
film.
me a slice of that cherry pie, baby.
I'm Team Tom Cruise right now because I keep watching Fallout and it's great.
Fallout.
So that's
Mission
the new
Impossible. Yeah,
Those
yeah.
movies are perfect. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
No, we're here to talk about Tarantino, but we are reaching the end,
Are we?
roughly.
All right.
We're at 50 minutes,
I don't know
52.
How long podcasts are supposed to be.
roughly an
About
hour,
five.
but
About 5 minutes.
about five.
Oh.
It's time to remember if there's anything that you're like, oh yeah, I wanted to say
Oh,
that.
I had a question because so much of this movie is in multiple languages, and that's great. For,
Only 30% is in English.
It's great for the actors who did a bunch of stuff in a bunch of different languages. But I've always been curious, and Abe, you might not have the answer to this, but I've always been curious for directors who are directing in other languages how that happens. Because like if you were directing me right now and the line was, "We saw this for the first time together," and I said, and you were directing me in English, and I said, "We saw this for the first time together," or if I said, "We saw this for the first time together," or if I said, "We saw this for the first time together," you would know.
Give me
because
four
you,
more.
You know in English which
Emphasis
word I'm putting
would be-
emphasis on, and you can tell the difference.
Mhm.
I don't imagine Quentin Tarantino is fluent in French, Italian,
All the languages.
and
waltzes.
German.
Yeah.
But so much of the movie is in those three languages. I don't know if is there an interpreter who is telling them
Oh,
like
absolutely.
I'm gonna
he did-
assume there's
he did that.
yeah.
First
he
off-
said that weird,
multiple
or just
interpreters.
like, or if Quentin Tarantino was like the intention, like the way he said what sounds to me like nonsense, got the intention across, and it doesn't matter because the words are going to be on the bottom of the screen.
I absolutely
and it's going
have
to
an
work.
answer.
And you do have an answer. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
How
and
does it go? How do you do
it's
it?
It's twofold. First off, like especially with like with someone like trying to find a Tennessee accent like Brad Pitt, or someone who is trying to do an English accent because they're French, or something like that. In order to figure that out, actors and actresses will employ someone off time, just to get better at multiple languages. Yeah, that was something that was very popularized by Meryl Streep. And then someone will work closely with Tarantino and the writer or whomever is writing and try to get the emphasis and stuff like that of the way that there are the tiny little bits and notes that come up. I want you to say this kind of wrong here.
Yeah.
So they'll work that out in rehearsal and have those translators there.
But like for me, like Daniel Bruhl, I know that he is not like originally a speaker of French. I still think he's a really good actor in this movie,
Right.
Because he's making a bunch of sounds, and there are words beneath what he's saying. It's subtitled, and I feel like I'm just seeing his intention and his acting with the words. So I know what he's supposed to be saying, and it looks like he is feeling that. But I don't know if people who are fluent in French are like,
There could also
he
just be
sounds
mistakes.
like he's saying fucking gibberish right now. Or
I doubt it would, because especially when you have someone on set. Like, did you know that the German or the Austrian dub for Inglourious Basterds, Waltz did his own dubbing? Because he knows like 5 languages.
He knows
Because he's
fucking
just
1,000 languages.
Yeah, because he's a crazy man. But yeah, that's a good point, because that's a really good
But
point.
like as a director, do you stop when it's like, no, that is the performance that I want. I don't know how it sounds in French, but like I know that it's going to be subtitled.
That's where you
That's
get
the performance that I want, even if it might sound weird to a native.
That's where you get
speaker.
directorial license. And just so everyone knows, Daniel Bruhl is a German actor, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he plays Zoller, who's
Yeah.
the nation's pride.
Right. And he speaks English, German, and French in this movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So you do all your best work by getting all the best people in there, but at the end you have directorial license. Like, there could be like a line that is said by a non-German speaker who is absolutely horrible, and if your ear is attuned to German, you're like, that was a shitty accent. That may have just been Tarantino being like, but I like how he acted that way.
Right.
Also, other times, so the translators there to try to give you the best things, but the translators also there to solve problems. Like, I want it so that Fassbinder is a bad version of, because it works for the scene.
Right. When it's intentional, I get that, but
Like, how to make it unintentional.
there are times when I wonder if like I can try to learn if I'm doing a scene, I could try to learn perfect Italian for it, or I could just do a bunch of words that sound Italian, and the audience won't know unless they're fluent in Italian. I don't think anyone is doing that, but like, cheat a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure there's cheating that's of all
Based on the take, but I doubt at this level they didn't have multiple native people on set. Yeah. Who told them all that shit.
It just seems so difficult to direct a movie that is in 4 languages, and you speak one of them because you're playing Tarantino.
Yeah, it's a lot of research, and that's another thing about Tarantino is he's almost always really well researched.
Yeah.
Not just in his movies and his quotations that he does in terms of how the film looks or quotations he has in the scripts, but he makes it feel like there's never any doubt that you're like, yeah, that's totally France.
Yeah.
That's totally
Mhm.
bunker of Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looks exactly right. Why? Because most people are using the same documents, and he's very good at making that very specific. So, of course, you do that with the
Also,
language as well.
Fassbinder's fluent in German.
Yeah.
So, according to IMDb page at least, he had to train with a dialect coach to make his accent sound inauthentic.
Yeah.
I like that.
Which
There you
is
go.
interesting, yeah.
And
I like that he's bad at German. The other accent thing that I love so much that is such a throwaway thing is when Londa has taken Brad Pitt and stupid BJ, and Brad Pitt is like, we got a saying from where I'm from, and Londa's like, yeah, where is that? Just him being really curious where his accent from is such a small touch that I really love.
Yeah.
Because Londa is a detective, and you imagine he's like Hellstrom in that he can like pick your accent out from where you are, and Aldo Rain is such a specific type of affectation to his voice that it's one of those things that just in that very brief scene I felt like this was needling in Londa's brain for a very long time. He knew Aldo the Apache, and now he's meeting him, was like, where the fuck is he? I can't place that. And so as soon as like, where I'm from? Yeah, where is that? Tennessee. It's Tennessee. Like that seemed like a big relief for
He
him.
needed to
like,
know.
Oh, it's northern Tennessee. Like we weren't sure for a while. It's a small
Or
moment
just,
that I
I
really
don't know
latched
enough
onto.
about America. Either way, I thought the work on that, at least for me who knows like one language basically, It all seems authentic, like you can kind of see the verisimilitude. Is that the right?
Verisimilitude.
Verisimilitude. Like when you watch something like The Wire and you go like, I bet that's how drug dealers in the projects in Baltimore.
Or pretty close at least, yeah.
But it's because it's done with such a confidence, and that's true of all languages because it's not even thought about. Everyone had that confidence, even when they're faking it, which is, that's hard to do.
It makes me wonder the language thing because Simon Pegg was originally going to be the Michael Fassbender role, and I don't know this, but now does that mean Simon Pegg also speaks fluent German?
I imagine that he would figure it out.
Or learn it to do that role,
worker.
I guess, yeah.
Or you learn it phonetically. Depends on how many lines you have.
Oh, and Kino, the name of the operation, is the German word for movie theater.
Oh, good.
Boo,
fuck you.
Wink again.
Here's something that's fun, or I thought was fun, just about like
Here's
how
something that's fun. Twister.
Just Tarantino being Tarantino, and take what you want from this information. Another trivia thing was in an audition, Fassbender inquired about playing Londa. Yeah.
I did see that.
You did see that? And Quentin Tarantino replied, "Look, man, any guy that gets cast as Heathcliff is not fucking German enough to play my Landa," right?
I also remember he met with Melanie Laurent several times, and at the end of it, he was like, after like their fourth meeting or whatever, he was like, "Look, I want to discover someone, and you're just too famous in your country." And she was just like, no, I'm not. And that worked on him. And then he cast her for that.
Didn't he also make her, which I guess she was a fan of, though, work for Tarantino as a projectionist? Probably at the New Beverly, because that's the
Did he?
theater he
Oh,
owns.
fuck him. I didn't
like
hear
to
that.
practice like a few nights or whatever.
She is someone rewatching because like definitely Christoph Waltz, who by the way fucks.
Yeah, that guy fucks in this movie.
Big dick energy, Christoph Waltz. That's what I'm coming away from this movie with. He was certainly when we all watched it the first time was like, this guy is a star. This guy's incredible. Give him all the awards. Watching it last night, now that I already know that Christoph Waltz is great, she is so good. She is incredible in a way that I don't think gets discussed enough.
Hammersmart?
No,
Shoshana.
Okay.
Yeah.
She is so good. Everything that she has to do.
Yeah.
She is so good at it. And she plays so much. That tense scene with Londa, with the cream.
When he finally leaves.
She's
Yes.
gone,
Yeah.
and she has a panic attack.
Yeah.
And like lets herself live it.
It's so perfect.
so good.
Yeah.
And her
It
when
is.
she's being fucking Lady Macbeth, and she's talking to Marcel, and she's dressed in black, and she's like, we're going to get this person to edit this movie. And if they don't do it,
We'll kill
we're
the
gonna
family.
kill
Yeah.
the family.
Yeah.
It's like, she is convincing in that, and she's capable of so much, and I just don't think we give her enough credit.
And
for
it
this
just
movie.
like it changes on a dime because you've seen this like woman running away for fear of her life to humbly working at her.
Just doing these things and
then-
trying to hide from the Nazis, and now she's like reading a book and being Eponine.
And that first scene with Marcel where she's just like, you're talking about killing a bunch of Germans. Like,
we're not
no,
gonna kill Nazis. No,
we're talking.
We are.
Yeah.
We are. Marcel.
And you're like,
It's
oh shit, she's
fucking-
fucking-
running this.
she's
shit.
gonna
yeah.
she's gonna
she's
do this
so
shit.
good.
Yeah, she kills it. Or Zoller at least. That's that's a hard one, a hard pill to take. Is their dual death, but it's also you're talking about everyone's dead technically. She already knew she was dead anyway. So.
Director trademark, Quentin Tarantino. Feet. There are many close-ups of characters' feet throughout the film.
We've lost Michael.
Someone typed, I love that someone typed that into IMDb, took the time. They're like, this needs to be represented on every Quentin Tarantino page.
I hope it was someone who had no clue why.
Mm.
Was just like, he does show feet a lot.
He shows feet a lot.
Golly.
One day we'll understand why.
Yeah.
But until then, and it'll be like, no, it's because he's into feet. Sorry, it's not weird. Or
Maybe.
anything, but just like he likes them.
Just like,
He likes to have blonde women show their feet in close up. That's his thing.
anyway, I'm gonna go have some hot cocoa.
Do you have any? I don't know if this is a trademark or not, but the scene with Shoshana and Londa, where they have it's not scones. What do they have?
Strudel.
Strudel. Thank you.
Strudel.
Strudel with the cream. It's that the close-ups of the food seemed like they're filmed by a different person.
Oh, look.
It seems like this is what you film if you're doing an advertisement for
Right.
food. And I know he did that in Django Unchained when they have the beer. They do like a very labored close-up of the beer,
Yeah.
and they're brushing off the foam on the top of the beer.
Like a commercial shot.
Like a commercial shot.
They use the same people because so you hire an art director and they have a production designer, and then they have art directors who work on like you're working on the building's treatments, you're building the walls, you're painting the walls, so they delegate that. And on some days you need to have food there, they just hire a bunch of people.
But like, why is he doing it
really
to make
good.
it look like a commercial? Because the rest of the movie is filmed like a movie, and then it's like, and now this thing that is designed to make you hungry, which is what it did for me.
Yeah,
like,
that's what it did to me.
Man,
It
that
looked
really
delicious.
looks good. I want to eat
and even
that.
the cream looked delicious.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I think it's just the thing that directors do because it's just like, I can do it with all this money. Might as well make it like some of my favorite shots are like, like sometimes food looks good. I'd rather than it look like that.
The cream threw me for a loop because I actually found myself wondering, wait, at that time in human history, did cream come out of a spray nozzle so that it would be shaped in that star shape?
I think it was just whipped.
They probably put it in a pastry bag and put a metal tip on with the star crenellation.
Yeah.
And then like the scene was over by the time I
was
had
over,
gone
man.
through that
You're just
thought
like,
process.
well, I've gone too far.
Which one's he? Hans Landa. Jesus God.
Jesus God.
All right. Well, I got to call it. We're way over.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Or we won't make our day.
No,
But
I
thank
said
you.
Christoph Waltz fucks. So.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, thank you so much. for
Christoph
having me.
Waltz fucks.
Yeah.
Everyone's fucking.
We usually have everyone plug, but I don't think or butt plug.
What I can plug? Vote no on Prop 6. Prop
Okay.
6 is the proposition in the California midterms to repeal the gas tax, and if you do that, you will set back a lot of the climate change things that we are doing in California to combat climate change. And also, there's a lot of money that is earmarked for infrastructure changes and improvements that is based on the gas tax staying around going forward. And so if you repeal it, you will stop and delay and destroy a number of very important things in California, and also set us back in the fight against climate change.
No
So-
on
I like
6.
the plug.
No
a lot.
on 6.
Good plug. I like that a lot.
If you live in California.
Yeah, obviously California is a
presumably.
limiting factor for some of you.
Right.
Or
And
if
if you
you're-
don't live in California,
Hack a voting machine.
midterms are coming up. You have plenty of time to familiarize yourself with all of the different things. You don't have to vote down ballot for everything, but familiarize yourself.
Or vote at all, really.
God almighty.
God.
I'm going to plug not voting. No, just kidding. It's the most important time to vote. Everyone knows that. This isn't that
Yeah.
kind of show, but
No,
thank you,
not at all.
Daniel.
Just plug yourself.
You can find us on Instagram at Small Beans Comedy.
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter at Swame_Corp. Abe,
At Abe the Mighty.
the mighty.
I don't think that's my other plug, is that I don't think anyone, not enough people follow Abe. He's so funny on Twitter.
And his
It's
avatar is so
Aw.
cute.
Almost
thanks.
all jokes, and they're all very good.
Oh.
And you should just follow him for jokes and joy.
Hmm.
I've been leaving Twitter slowly over time.
No.
Yes, but now that you say that makes me happy.
Go follow Abe's dying feed, and we will see you next time on Frame Rate.
This has been a Small Beans endeavor. We're a bunch of pals who make podcasts, sketches, music, web series, and movies. The Beans always have new ideas percolating, so make sure to check us out at patreon.com/smallbeans. That's patreon.com/smallbeans, where you can browse all of our current and past content, see what we've got planned in the future, and learn how your support can help the small beans grow into huge, giant monster beans. If you enjoyed this content module, please like, rate, subscribe, or tell a friend about us. We love you.